Learning how to swing means at the same time to learn how to disorient yourself. What is the power of swing is the question of today, and we are going to understand or try to understand, to do our best to grasp the meaning, the power, the function of swinging and the swing. Okay, so in history, and this is gonna be a philosophical history of the swing, in history the swing has been interpreted as a tool, as a means to achieve different results. For instance, to celebrate the gods, or to ward off evil, to alleviate suicidal impulses, to heal mental illness, to express sexual dominance. The history of the swing is a history of disorientation. It was instrumentalized across a long arc that I would say is the arc of feelings, because swing appears in Greece, but it's also present in the Chinese or in the Persian stories until we get to the 18th century, and here we are in Thailand under the Chakri dynasty in Rama I specifically, where the swing appears. And there's a specific meaning, a specific power associated with the swing. But we have to go back. How originally the swing started in having some sort of meaning. The story is that of Epigon. Now, Epigon had a father, and her father was Icarus. And Icarus was a winemaker and shared the recipes for an excellent wine making with other shepherds. He was not supposed to do that. And what happened was that the shepherds thought they had been drugged, so strong was the wine they drank, that they decided to kill Icarus. After killing Icarus, tried to bury the body, but they didn't do a very good job. So Epigon arrives, sees and recognizes the body of her father. She cannot bear, at that point, she cannot bear that vision and decides to commit suicide. The way she does that is by hanging herself to the tree. Interestingly, in ancient Greece, the swing is referred to this term, aiora, and that means a swing as well as noose. And so it starts this term by putting together two very different things, because you would associate nowadays the swing to a movement of relaxation. Kids love it, adults, some among which I acknowledge myself, love it too, right? It's this movement that is very soothing for the soul, but it starts in the worst possible way, which is by being associated to death and to suicide. It changes meaning in the 1st century after Christ, in the Hispanic Latin sort of kingdom, where is a device capable of warding off evil spirits. So instead of being used to commit suicide, it starts to be used to prevent Athenians girls from committing suicide, from hanging themselves. So the swing, the actual swing, the way we interpret swing, is used to prevent. So the tool to commit suicide is the same to prevent suicide. The cure is in the thing itself. But the swing comes back later on in the history of the world to have a more disciplinary sort of use, right? So for instance, witches would be put in a sack, suspended, and then swung back and forth. Again, Another different use is that developed in 1820. We are in Czech Republic, what nowadays is Czech Republic, at the time it was Bohemia, and there's a guy, doctor, who tries to understand the ear's labyrinth and how that works, right? And so in order to experiment with that, they have to create a rotating chair suspended by a rope that has this swinging sort of mechanics. The swing comes back with spiritualism. Illustrations of spiritualism and seances from the 19th century mostly depict this people on huge swings. Ritual swinging is described by Fraser to be present in 21 nations, among which there's Nepal, Greece, Korea, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Borneo. And what the swing does is suspending. Now, this is one of the most fascinating functions of swinging I have ever read, and the swing that I have ever read. Why? Because it says swing allows you to suspend your functions. For instance, pick Thailand. Pick the Aka ceremony, right? Women do not need to anymore fetch water or work hard. The moment there's this Aka ceremony, what happens is they place themselves on the swing, so the role, functional role, societal role within the family is suspended. Same things happens in China. So there's wives and concubines, and we know the wives are, you know, the favorites that have more power, that hold more power. I mean, concubines eventually have become wives in the history of the Chinese Empire. But there's a specific moment where the concubines can place themselves on the swing, and the wives have to push them. And in that moment, those who occupy a structurally inferior social position could free themselves from servitude, at least temporarily. Same thing that happens in Thailand, right? Swinging is also sexual. It appears also in some late paintings, swinging in the sexual position, where you would see the guy laying on the grass beneath her and she's swinging up in the air. But originally, the meaning of swinging has to be traced to Isis and to the ancient Egypt. We know that Isis was married to Osiris. Seth, Osiris' brother, decides that you know, he wants the kingdom, so let's slice Osiris up. So he goes like, let's kill Osiris first and then spread these pieces all over the ancient world, right? Isis starts this enterprising of collecting all the different pieces, and then eventually finds his penis. Now, his penis is important because that is how Isis gets pregnant, gives birth to Horus. But why is that also important? Because the legend narrates that she tucks it inside herself while adopting the shape of an oak. That is the origin of this swinging, as in expressing female dominance. And that is how we ended up having the swing. And that is also how our philosophical history of the swing concludes. But I want to leave you with this thought. What happens if we put all of these functions together? Because, you know, Derrida would love this, right? Because it is destructuralizing something that has a composite meaning, something that has a complexity of meaning. What happens if we put back all of those meanings together? What happens with the concept of swinging as a suspension? Can we run with that? What is your thoughts? Let us know. Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. We might resume this in a different episode, okay? But I want to hear your thoughts. So let us know, comment below, and we'll talk some more next time. Bye, guys.